Welcome to the Free Play Arcade Podcast, where we have ourselves a little bit of a breaking news show today. But before we get there, I want to introduce the CEO of Free Play Inc., Corey Hayden.
That's me. Hey.
Yeah. As usual, if you like what we're doing, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, make sure it's on. I'm not sure how many presses that is, but you'll figure it out. And with that, we're off. So I'll pass it to Corey for today's breaking news.
So we did a podcast, right?
One or two.
Like a week or two ago about Billy Mitchell. And, you know, we were talking basically about him sending that demand letter to Twin Galaxies and the Guinness Book of World Records about, you know, honoring his records again. And we were kind of like, that's kind of silly. And, given that he obviously, used something that didn't look real.
Right.
So interesting developments. And during that podcast, for the first time, I learned Billy Mitchell's coming to town. He's coming to Retropalooza in Arlington, Texas.
Yeah, it did get mentioned on the podcast.
Yeah, that was actually the first time I learned about that, October 19th and 20th. And we all kind of were joking about, wouldn't it be funny if Billy Mitchell came to Free Play or Billy Mitchell, blah, blah, blah. And so through a series of actually quite a few events, Billy Mitchell's coming to Free Play.
Yes. Potentially, almost positive.
We've been told this.
I mean, I'll totally believe it when he walks in the door.
Yeah, it's true. Anyone who's watched the various footage of different documentaries that we keep getting lambasted in the comments, they're like, "How could you ever rely on a documentary? They can be edited in any way." And you're like, "But you didn't edit him actually walking out of the room. That was just how he just walked out of the room. I mean, it's on the camera." But and then they're like, how can you trust one camera and not another camera? It gets crazy. But here we are. Billy Mitchell coming allegedly to Free Play Arlington. The night of the Retropalooza, we'll be hosting the official Retropalooza after party.
Correct.
On October 19th. Mm-hmm. Billy Mitchell has come and he wants to do a run on a Donkey Kong.
Yes.
And I mean, in some ways it's like, I'm like super, like, I respect this move, right? Mm-hmm. Some people are like, we have real equipment, blah, blah, blah. We call him out and he's like, all right, I want to do it on that equipment. And we talked a lot about in previous podcasts, like what he could do to help work on his reputation. And I think one of the things we said last time, and it was the most persuasive to me, is to just go start setting epic records on known good machines.
Right.
Until the record books are kind of a joke because he's not in them, because he's clearly setting all these records.
Yes, he's live performing all this. So if you have any questions about it, well, there he is, and he's doing it. This is sort of the opposite of the King of Kong's plot. Right.
Well, I mean, everyone loves good redemption arcs.
Sure.
And this might be a step in the right direction. We don't know. But I have to admit, like, in terms of having Free Play be part of what could be, maybe, if it happens, if everything goes as planned, if Billy Mitchell actually shows up and actually plays Donkey Kong, both of those aren't necessarily, he could show up and just be like, never mind.
Right.
Especially, and you were talking about this before, when he sees Free Play on a Saturday night. And it's not only is it Free Play on a Saturday night, it's the Retropalooza after party with DJ Terminator might be in the mix.
Right. So it'll be loud. It'll be a madhouse.
Yeah.
It'll be an extra madhouse because it is the Retropalooza after party in addition to just Saturday night at Free Play Arlington, which is already a madhouse.
Right. And
somewhere in the middle of that, or maybe on the side, or it won't matter because you won't be able to escape how much of a madhouse it is. There will be Billy Mitchell playing Donkey Kong potentially.
Right. Well, and we've talked a lot about how this is like the slow season, but it's more like the slow season not on the weekend.
Right.
During the weekend, it's still super busy. And so we're expecting quite a bit of people, not to mention with a little tie-in with Retropalooza and, potentially with a tie-in that says, hey, Billy Mitchell's going to come here and play what is, there's no doubt that it's real Donkey Kong.
Yes.
Our techs are gonna give it a nice once-over service. Make sure that the sticks are good. Make sure that all the buttons are good. That we feel comfortable putting it to a 3-hour play or whatever, however long it takes Billy Mitchell.
Early plans were to have this double donk make a substitute appearance, correct?
Yeah.
Just to free up an extra Donkey Kong.
So at first we thought we were going to be at Retropalooza doing it. Mm-hmm. And Billy Mitchell apparently has requested, this is the information we have, to do it at Free Play live during the after party, which we said, okay. So we were originally going to actually take the Donkey Kong that's in Richardson, move it to the convention center, but this guy in Richardson for a weekend, because this is a really cool kit that was released in the late 90s that uses real Donkey Kong code, real Donkey Kong boards, but so you can play Donkey Kong Jr. and Donkey Kong on the the same cab. And then,
Right.
they did some cool artwork and stuff.
I think this is isn't that the source of some of the controversy in King of Kong is that's the board. The double donk board is the one that was used by Steve Wiebe to break the record in the movie.
They say something like
that, or maybe that was the accusation. And either way, it's all the original code anyway, so like it doesn't
right through the original chips.
It's not like he used MAME.
right. Now that would have been embarrassing.
That would have been embarrassing.
But no, it is a clean version of Donkey Kong, I think. But obviously, we're not going to use this for any potential Billy Mitchell run. We're going to get out one of our just 100% stock, bare bone original Donkey Kongs, as released by Nintendo, and give it to him and see what he does. We're going to stream it on our Twitch. We're going to hopefully also have it on this YouTube channel if you're watching this podcast here. And I mean, like, and I know I go on about this probably too much, and I talk, but like when I was growing up in the 90s, right, all of your major sports, all of your major things, there were these heroes and villains. And we've talked about wrestling a lot too.
Yeah.
And I really feel like somehow like it's kind of neat because we might play a part in like a narrative that has to do with arcades in a similar way. Mm-hmm. To me, it's like a throwback because I mean, nowadays it seems like, like everyone is super friendly with each other, right? Everyone tends to be friends. Like we work in, and I've said this on the podcast before, like in the craft beer community, it's really amazing to me because you've got all these producers in direct competition, but they're all being friendly with each other.
Right.
Billy Mitchell's not necessarily known for being friendly with very many people, right? He is the heel. He has plenty of fans and plenty of support in the arcade community, and plenty of people who are still like upset that he even had his records removed. So it's really interesting to me because he's one of those polarizing figures that I used like. That's what I was growing up with like all these stars that were polarizing.
Yeah,
I mean,
same.
And then it kind of seems to have faded. I mean, LeBron James is in the news this week for a different polarizing thing. But
he will be next week for another polarizing.
Right. But before this, I mean, generally, like everyone was kind of losing faith a little bit, at least kind of the old school guys in the NBA, because all of those players are like friends. Mm-hmm. Like you had the banana boat where 4 alleged competitors are all just hanging out, partying with each other. Mm-hmm. And then we were telling this story about how Michael Jordan during the Olympics, he went out and he'd get everyone like super drunk, right? But he'd just be studying them the whole time. And like Charles Barkley was like, it was really great when I came home from the Olympics because I had made 13 or 14 new friends. Mm-hmm. And Michael Jordan says it was really great coming home from the Olympics because I'd figured out 13 or 14 different players. Right. And he used that and then he just started winning championships and stuff. And so it was like super exciting. Or, like Michael Jordan giving expensive gifts to these players. And they're like, man, now we're friends. And Michael Jordan in his head was just like, I'm going to stomp them. So it's interesting to see how it's changed in this world. And I always thought that Billy Mitchell was like a cool throwback. And we've criticized him plenty, right? Mm-hmm. But I do think he's like a cool throwback character in the arcade world. So he is. We can verify that he's going to come, hopefully, to Free Play Arlington. But we can verify that the hardware, if he comes and he plays, will be authentic, will be real.
That'll be there. The stage will be set.
And we're going to try to stream it. We're hoping nothing goes wrong, knock on wood. We're hoping it all goes as planned, just like every event that we do. But this one's definitely going to have a decent amount of fanfare, a decent amount of attention. Because I know Billy Mitchell has done a couple Donkey Kong type runs since the controversy started. But I do feel like this might be like a big one for him. If it goes, if he, so this is how it was pitched to me. It was pitched that Billy Mitchell wants to kill screen a Pac-Man and a Donkey Kong. Mm-hmm. And he wants to know that it's he wants to prove that it's authentic hardware. Mm-hmm. And then they're being very nice to us, right? Because they're like, if it's on a free play machine, of course it's authentic, which is, that is our reputation, but I'm really proud of that.
And we'll make sure that it's true.
Right. And we will. We'll make sure that it's, that machine has gone over and made sure that everything is good with it. And not to mention, we'll probably have backup parts, everything, boards, to try to make sure that everyone it's trusting what's going on. So he reached out, he pitched those things. Mm-hmm. And through a different course of events, now he's going to potentially do the Pac-Man run at the convention.
Yes.
Potentially do the Donkey Kong run at Free Play. And we're going to try to stream both. But guys, this is like 15, 20 minutes before this podcast started recording.
Everything changed.
Details were changing. So it's just as likely that some details could change. But yeah, we are hoping to be able to stream Pac-Man with a Billy Mitchell run. to kill screen it, and then we're hoping that he does like the main show at Free Play Arlington at the Retropalooza after party, and kill screen this Donkey Kong. And it's kind of an interesting throwback because I've been trying to get someone to kill screen my Donkey Kongs forever.
Right.
And since we opened, I've been like, because I watched these documentaries, I'm like, there must be a lot of people out there that are going to be able to do this. I can't wait. And then it's never happened at Free Play. So, and in Free Play's defense, it's been a while since we've really searched out for anyone. And
we've had other accomplishments. People playing in big tournaments here and there, and
right,
doing different things.
We had the Tapper World Record set, all sorts of fun stuff, numerous world records,
like a 300 million point score on Nibbler, something like that.
Yeah. We've had, and yeah, that's super crazy by itself. And we've had some just super high level players, but at Donkey Kong, it's been kind of like the same 3 or 4 people are the high score holders, and they haven't just really wanted to try to do the runs.
Right. Yeah. So they don't. And in this way, I'm hoping that Billy comes up and sets a really, really nice score for them to go catch, because they're not motivated to at the moment, because they're just are where they are.
We've talked about how Free Play keeps on the community group. We've got that post that has just the scores that we're aware of, the highest scores that have been set, and it's really exciting to me to potentially have a Billy Mitchell score, like you were saying, for our players to chase.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. So I mean, that's kind of the crux of it. Billy Mitchell coming to Free Play. We joked about it in the last podcast. It's actually happening,
right?
In theory. We keep trying to temper expectations because we have no idea exactly how it's all going to go. And obviously, if you watched the various footage, things can change. And like we were saying before, he's gonna be walking into a busy Saturday night arcade with a DJ. So hopefully he brings like some headphones, some noise canceling stuff.
Hopefully he knows,
because it will be a party. Because Free Play's a party on Saturday.
It will be a party, so it should be a fun atmosphere if this is a fun event for Billy.
Right.
It could be a distracting one.
Right.
As long as he knows what he's getting into, then I don't see any problem here. And also, this is the type of like performance that you can't. This is beyond question. It's a Donkey Kong machine that we've set up that we know is right. It's in public. It's in an absurd party scene in public.
There's no way to do anything wrong. You're gonna have eyes on you constantly.
Yes. So if he actually pulls all this off and everything goes smoothly as is planned, it's beyond reproach. His score will definitely go up into the Free Play arcade high score board, and it'll sit there forever. And he can cheat on another thing another day, and it will still sit there because we will be sure that this moment and this time, if it all goes according to plan, is real.
Yeah, and I think it's a really cool moment because we've been so kind of extreme in our purism, right? Mm-hmm. That now people kind of associate us, those scores that we have on the community group, at least. Plenty of people have come up to me and be like, we know that those are like good scores, which is interesting because we generally don't verify them under like hardcore conditions, but
I don't pretend to.
Right. We're not really interested in that, right? We've talked about the faults with that, but we'll put them in our high score because we know it's on real stuff. Like that's the other reason why we only take submissions from Free Play, right?
Right.
We've never we know we have players that can go out there to other arcades and have set scores, and basically any member of Team Free Play probably has 10 high scores at a different arcade because once you've played at Free Play a little bit, you get very good at these games.
That is accurate.
So like it's like a wrecking crew if we ever go visit another arcade. All of this
or another convention, perhaps.
Right. Exactly. So. But yeah, we're going to be able to know that it's real, and it's going to be great.
So he's playing Pac-Man too. Any care for Pac-Man?
Well, so he set that perfect.
I have thoughts on Pac-Man. Well, so do you?
He set that perfect game, right? Like a month or two ago.
Yeah.
In public, verified. So this is kind of like a follow-up to it. So it's like, I mean, I like Pac-Man as like in theory. Obviously, we've talked about how I prefer Miss Pac so much.
Yeah.
And it was really funny because I was playing a speed chipped Pac-Man the other day, and I was just like, I wish this was Miss Pac so much.
It's still a pattern-based game.
Right. But Pac-Man, I think Pac-Man Slow actually makes more sense than Speed Pac-Man. Because like Speed Pac-Man to me was like soul-sucking. But
I love the sounds, the graphics, a lot of things about Pac-Man I do enjoy from a classical sense, but from a competitive sense, nothing at all. I've learned, I can't even remember which key level it is, the 6th key level that you just have to repeat ad nauseum over 200 times.
I mean,
it's just learn a level that's going very slow and do it again and again and again and again. And that doesn't, it impresses me to hear, whereas a solid Donkey Kong run, and especially if he's going to do it in the way that he's actually
right.
planning to do it, and color me skeptical until it happens. But if and when it happens, then yes, I'm impressed, legitimately impressed.
I think it's going to happen,
and it doesn't need to be a perfect run for me to be impressed.
Right?
Honestly, he is about 2 days, I can't remember, younger or older than Lauren Featherstone's father.
Right.
So as someone 39 who's still in the game, he's an older. Not an 18-year-old doing this. It's an impressive run if he puts on an impressive run in public. Like this is beyond reproach. So I'm happy to see it.
Right. Well, and yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's definitely like I never expected to have like a kill screen or a perfect pack on one of our machines. So it sure would be exciting to see that, just as an arcade fan. Plus, it makes me feel super good that I know everything about what he's playing on. Like, that's kind of what that doubt element does, right?
Right.
But we've kind of been like, this is how he could prove it, and he's like, okay,
yeah,
right. That's pretty cool. I mean, if it all goes as planned, that's a great first step, I think, and that's a great
so too,
step in the right direction.
Yeah, it's the stage is set for some level of redemption.
Because I would love to see Billy Mitchell go into all like purist arcades in the country and just wreck their Donkey Kong, and then just be like, maybe I don't have the all-time world record, but I have the most kill screens and the most, like Lonnie McDonald did a little bit.
No, Lonnie has been out to free play multiple times, rolling the score, so getting 10 million points on Joust, and I have a ton of respect for him.
Yeah, well, and we've spoken, so like that would be a really cool way to do it, because of course Lonnie McDonald now has done like 220 or something jousts that he's
again beyond reproach in public,
right,
everywhere, and I've even seen him turn away people who have fake machines.
Yeah. Well,
he will go in there and be upset at it and walk off. It's awesome.
Yeah, and we've heard these mysterious stories how he shows up after scheduling it ahead of time and the machines just disappeared. They're like, we lost our joust, sorry.
About that.
We're not going to be able to let you do the high score run today. But come back in like 6 weeks, we'll have a different one for you to try. But yeah, I think that's in many ways with where we've seen arcade scores going, right? Because what we've really seen, if places like Free Play, where you have this unlimited play aspect, it turns out that a lot of scores from the 80s, from the 90s, the ones that are, we've already talked about how those might not be as real as we thought. But it shows also that with enough play on some of these obscure machines, a lot of the scores were actually just super low, like super easy for people to break. And it seems like the value of different records
records are made to be broken.
Right.
You build upon the existing knowledge of the game. So if someone can clear a bar, the next generation can come up and see how you cleared that bar and strive to do it, and then they will strive to do better because that's their accomplishment. But yeah, and it's always going to be the nature of things.
If it happens, it's going to be really cool, really interesting, like an interesting kind of part of the free play history, which is, we like interesting stuff. It's actually going to be the day after one of our big Halloween parties too.
Right, yeah, we're going to be busy this weekend.
So timing is not perfect, but we live to make these cool arcade things happen. So if you were attending Retropalooza and you come to the free play after party, you'll get a $6 admission if you show your badge at the door.
That's right. It'll be packed.
It should be busy. In theory, Billy Mitchell's going to be there trying to perfect our Donkey Kong.
It's going to be a party. It's absolutely going to be a party.
And we, come see the spectacle and see how it goes. Because we don't know. We have no idea how it's going to go. But we're going to try to play our role and do what we're supposed to, which is preserve and offer up a beautiful Donkey Kong to be played by Billy Mitchell.
Should we talk about the broadcast at all?
Yeah.
So we contacted. So if you look at the famous, is it Time Life?
Yeah, so there was I think it actually appeared in Life magazine, but it was a Time Life shoot.
Okay. The infamous shoot of all the champions, and Billy Mitchell at 17 years old was there. It's featured heavily in King of Kong, the documentary everybody knows him from.
I feel like it's featured in like every gaming documentary, video game, because it felt like a big moment for video games. Like, not only did it legitimize them,
not only video games, but video game players,
right?
Too.
It made them the stars, right? Because it had all the cheerleaders in front of all the games, and it's a beautiful like middle America scene too. Like the photographer nailed it. But yeah, Billy Mitchell's there.
Billy Mitchell's there, and directly to his left is Ben Gold from Dallas, Texas. At 16 years old, he's no longer 16 years old, but he is still in Dallas, Texas. We contacted him. He's out there, and he said he was happy. He knows Billy still, and he was happy to come out and provide commentary for us. So
originally he was going to do commentary on Donkey Kong when that was going to be at the convention.
And we're honestly, I'm still talking to him on the phone. Whatever we need him to do, we can work it out.
So, but now that it's going to be Pac-Man at the convention and Donkey Kong, we're not really sure where he's going to. But the plan is to have him commentating while Billy makes a run.
Yes. Yes, and he let me know he plans to just make fun of Billy the whole time.
Right.
And he's like, "Are you okay with this?" And I'm like, "I wouldn't have it any other way." I mean, honestly.
Well, and we had a lot of talks about it, right? Because we know that that's going to be kind of not only it's not impartial. It's actually one of Billy's kind of friends, right?
Yeah.
But also, both are great gamers. Just Billy has had his issues lately.
Correct. Well, at least that's always been my working assumption. I do believe that he is one of the greatest retro arcade gamers of all time. It just he's had a very, very public spat with, I don't know, cheating and manipulating the competition. I mean, he's had some sinister looking things happen for sure. Ben has been above the board the whole way. He had the Stargate record. That's what he was in the magazine for. He also had the Qbert record for quite a long time, and featured on, I believe it was That's Incredible, one of those 80s shows, Starcade, one of those.
Well, yeah, and here it is.
Before my time, I'm sorry.
Here it is, the little player profiles, and they've got, Billy Mitchell, Dallas, Texas, right next, or I'm sorry, Ben Gold, Dallas, Texas, right next to Billy Mitchell from Florida.
Hollywood,
Florida.
I just say Hollywood.
I do. I'll never get over Billy Mitchell custom prints his own shirt for his Centipede accomplishments. That just sounds like something I'd do. Jeez. Anyways, yeah. So
I've always liked his personality. I mean, I like a good heel. We talked about this before.
Yeah.
Whether you're playing the hero or the villain, if you're playing a role, it's a fun show.
Well, and I mean, some people online are going to be like, they're going to consider this move by us a little hypocritical, but I don't think it is. I think it honestly is. We've always said we just want Billy Mitchell to put up, do it, and on what's known to be real machines, and prove that you're a great gamer if you're really a great gamer. And he just said, okay.
I still feel the same way I've always felt about Billy, which is
so. Yeah,
he's a fantastic player that inspired me as a youth, and continues to inspire me in ways, and that he's going out and doing it in public. That's awesome.
Right. So
I'm never gonna not believe what Twin Galaxies has proven.
Right.
But
Right.
I can believe that he is one of the greatest players of all time, and can believe that he can set a bonkers score on Donkey Kong on our machine. Like, if he does that, then that's the truth, and nothing will change the truth.
Right. Well, and we've also, I mean, we've kind of railed against every party. I mean, like Twin Galaxies, we have our own podcast ripping them down. We have
we suck too. We know.
Well, yeah, and we are not perfect people and have our own issues as well. So yeah, we've had a lot of talks like that, and I mean, every time we make a Billy Mitchell mention, we'll get some people in the comments. But hey, come to Free Play Arlington, meet him on Saturday. I mean, he'll probably be busy, so.
Yeah, right. You probably don't want to shake his hand while he's using that hand to go left and right on the Donkey Kong joystick.
But yeah, go to Retropalooza. Come to Free Play this Saturday. Free Play Arlington, Saturday. It's October 19th. Come, make a whole day of this. Because Retropalooza, we probably should say some really. They have actually been really cool, both to us and sharing in this, and also as a convention, it's one of the best places to go buy video games. And
it's not that far away from Free Play Arlington either.
Right, it's just down the street at the convention center.
So really conveniently located. Yeah, it's been annual for, I don't know, as long as I can remember. So it's been there, and they've contacted us, been friends throughout our entirety of existence. So.
We were at one of the Retropaloozas before we opened Richardson with a ton of games.
Gotcha.
We had 20 games there, working with our friends from Let's Play, because Let's Play at that convention was actually running the consoles. We were running the arcades that time, and we've been involved ever since. And we've had some really awesome after parties, and it's becoming kind of like a really cool, since it is so close, it's becoming almost like an extension of Retropalooza, where a bunch of people get to go hang out at.
Yeah, I was at the after party last year, and it was nuts. They had tons of players or people coming out in cosplay and greeting each other and talking about what they had just bought at Retropalooza.
Well, and of course, Retropalooza courts kind of like a YouTube community too. So I was jogging the other night and going through like my YouTube recommended stuff, and there are all these walkthroughs of Free Play Arlington. And I was trying to figure out what the heck that was, and it turns out it was a bunch of people from that Retropalooza after party who just went ahead and made their own walkthroughs.
Yes.
So yeah, guys, coming up this Saturday, Retropalooza, Billy Mitchell, maybe at Free Play, hopefully streaming here and hopefully streaming on our Twitch.
If it happens, we'll stream it right here. So pay attention to the channel, and if it doesn't happen, then something horribly wrong went down, and we will discuss it on the next podcast.
Yeah, that'll there will definitely be a follow up here one way or another. Yeah. So until next time, we're signing off. Come out this Saturday, and we'll see you then.
Don't forget, like, subscribe, and obey. Bye.